Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our entitled parents. In today's episode, my mother tried to stab me because I was talking to my friends after 12 at night. Mom thinks I owe her my time and can read minds. My mother proved she never really loved me. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. My mother tried to stab me because I was talking to my friends after 12 at night. Okay, so I don't even know where to start. This is going to be a pretty long one, but please help me out. I, 16F, lost my dad when I was 14 due to lung cancer. My father was an amazing dad and he was my best friend. He basically knew everything about me. Some context about my mother: I knew I wasn't her favorite out of my two other siblings, 14F, 19M, early on in life. She's always favored my brother over me and my sister because he's a guy, and favored my sister over me because she's the younger one. She made me babysit both my maternal uncle's children, now 11M, 12M, 9M, and do all the household work when I was around 12 too. My father was out of state during those times. She could very well afford more than two maids during that time too, but she just didn't. I broke my leg around the same time, but she didn't take me to the doc until I called my dad crying out of pain, and he sent his employee to take me to his clinic. He flew back the next day and they had a really bad fight. I have a very vivid memory of all of this, but I remember my dad telling her that I'm not a toy she can keep however she wants. Actually, her behavior wasn't as evident before as I had my dad to make it up. I hope that gives you all some idea about it. My mother has been emotionally abusing me since dad passed away, but the physical abuse started around a week and some days ago. I had my exam the next day. It was well past 12 a.m. and I was on a conference with my friends discussing about that exam only. She does not want me having friends. There was one of my guy friend on the line too. I was in the living room when I told everyone I better head to bed. As soon as I opened the door, I saw her standing at the door frame in her nightsuit. She asked me who I was talking to. I said my friends. She said, "No, you were also talking to a guy." I replied, "Yes, it was a conference." She started beating her head with her hands and asked me why I would do this to her. It was like she was having a psychotic episode. I tried to calm her down, but she went inside the kitchen. The living room is attached to the kitchen, and brought a knife. She tried to hold my wrist and slit it as I was trying to push her away as gently as I could in that moment of panic, so I wouldn't end up hurting her. I held her hand, which had the knife, with mine, and she started pinching it with her other. The pinches were so bad they left bruises. When that wasn't working, she took the knife to my chest as an attempt to reach my throat, but ended up giving me a very bad cut around my ribs. I was only wearing a very thin undershirt. She didn't stop even when it started bleeding. When I saw the blood and finally pushed her away with all of my force, she hit the wall and stared, crying while holding her knees. I tried to calm her down yet again, but she pushed me away and went upstairs. I want to clean up the blood, and when I came back, my phone wasn't there. She did give me my phone back a week later. She even banned me from going to school or my tuitions. Now, since that day, she gets frustrated so easily and hits me any chance she gets. She hit me with a belt because I didn't clean up the cupboard. My sister messed it up, and I had just come back from my tuitions of 4 hours. She tried to choke me because I told her I'd do the dishes after I completed studying for my tests. So it's pretty bad. I did tell my brother, but he instead asked my mother if she did that. He saw the bruises and a picture of the cut too. And as you may guess, my mother hit me for telling him too. I would report her, but she's a good mother to both of my siblings, and I don't want my sister to lose both of her parents. Yes, I'm sure she doesn't abuse my sister or brother in any way. My friend who lives on the other side of the country offered to buy me tickets and I could fly to him. But honestly, that would just make it all worse. My father was a well-known investor and has a lot of property. And it is a lot. I can't inherit any of it until I'm 18, obviously. He had a college fund for me too, but I can't access it until I'm 18 either. Legally, I've turned 15 this year. Yeah, they changed my birth year for some school admission thing. So I'll be inheriting any of it 3 years later only. I have plans to study on the other side of the country, and I need her to fund me. I think she's just looking for reasons to make me stay here and torture me. How do I collect the money to go study? Where I live, teenagers don't really do part-time, especially not girls. It's all too tiring, honestly, and I can't deal with all of this anymore. Help me out with anything ADP. Please. Edit. Hey guys. Like how you update, but I hope it's this way only? To start with, I'm very thankful for all the messages and comments. Well, most of the comments told me to document the bruises, and I've been doing that. I did fight back, but it backfired horribly. The abuse is still on, but I've been out of the house mostly. I haven't slept well since ages because of the nightmares I get every night. Maybe I have a good news too. There is this huge football academy which is coming to my state for trails on May 23rd. This academy provides accommodation, food, education, all while you get to play for them. I'd say I'm pretty good at football. I've played professionally too until my father was alive. I do practice when I go to my tuitions with a girl from my old school. Obviously, my mother doesn't know about it, but my tutor does. There are chances I might get selected, and I really hope I will. I'll update you guys. That's all I have for now. I'll probably update after the trials. Pray for me. Why aren't you telling all of this to a relative/friend or anyone you can trust in general? This for sure can't go unnoticed. I did tell 2 of my friends, but they can't do anything about it than checking up on me regularly. I have told my uncle and my cousin about the emotional abuse, but they said that they would rather stay out of it than to mess with my mother. Other than them, my other relatives don't care or are scared of ruining their relationship with my mother. They need her money. And even if I try to go to the police, my whole family would disown me, and I won't have anywhere to go. Are you so sure you will get the inheritance or schooling paid for anyway? It will have conditions attached for sure if you stay. And what if she tries to marry you off instead? If she knows you want or need the money, she will control it and you. I've been told I'll get it. Haven't seen anything in written though. Run, just run. Even if you are underage, just find friends and relatives who can hide you. Please run. You are not safe in that house. I'm honestly terrified for you. Please keep us updated op. If you can't run or report her, fight back. I mean really fight back. Take a metal bar and hit both her kneecaps as absolutely hard as you can 3 to 4 times, and she will never lay hand on you ever again, trust me. What is she gonna do? Call the police on herself. Go to the police, my dear. You cannot live with her anymore. She committed the crime of assault against you many times. I am so sorry. She appears to be mentally ill, but that doesn't mean that you need to stick around and be beaten by her. Go to the police, please. She physically assaulted you. There's no excuse. Go to a trusted friend and explain the situation, and then report it to the police and CPS. Mom thinks I owe her my time and can read minds. Let's start with saying that I have ADHD, both diagnosed by professionals, and the ADHD part was reevaluated 3 times, and the autism was confirmed after I demanded a second opinion. I am no contact with my dad. He is a diagnosed narcissist. However, I had regular contact with my mom before I got pregnant in the fall of 2021. Since, my partner and I, have gone low contact. My mom loves talking about how she raised us since I got pregnant. Like how I, at 3.5, while she was resting from surgery, aesthetic, she had my grandmother take us to daycare for 4 weeks, and how, in week 2, I gave my grandmother the tricks of how my mom wrangled my brothers who would take off their snow gears while the other was getting dressed, 2-year-old twins. The trick was dressing me first and putting me on the balcony in a high-crime area of town, closing the door behind me to not let the cold air in, dressing one of the boys, putting him on the balcony for me to watch, and taking care of the other before putting him on the balcony too, dressing herself, and taking them down the 3 flights of stairs which didn't have child safety gates, to the car with me following. She reminds me every few months, to this day, how her and my grandmother were disappointed in me and resentful for not telling my grandmother sooner. Or when she took us to get our pictures taken at Sears and we were being toddlers, I think I was 5, touching everything and me randomly screaming, a stim I used to have when overwhelmed. She kept telling us to sit and be quiet, but we wouldn't. So after 15 minutes, she said she lost patience, left the photographer's waiting area, took us to the parking where she proceeded to hit us bare bottom, one after the other, until she was certain we would remember the punishment for days to come. She confirmed it was about us feeling the pain for days. She laughs about how painful her hands were and how she had feared, at the time, that someone would call my country's equivalent of CPS on her. She laughs even harder remembering that when my dad asked how our day went, I allegedly said, "We got a lot of slaps and no pictures." She is proud to say that when we went back the next day, we were the picture-perfect kids and how many compliments she got on our good behavior. Or how often she beat my brother's ass until it bruised for climbing furniture. Or how I would make myself severely sick to not eat the food she cooked. I have sensory issues. So many more stories of me either being parentified, including leaving me alone for 4 months with my brothers when I was 15. I had to pay for groceries for all 3 of us with my own money, or me and my siblings being abused. It terrifies me that she could sow something similar to my son because she is not all regretting her actions, but she thinks they are funny stories from our childhood, including denying us food for days on end. In the last few years, my mental health has been very poor. Medication is difficult due to allergies and side effects, and therapy takes the time it needs. But I am better. So in the last few weeks, my ergotherapist has put a plan in place to help me regain more independence, energy, and physical wellness. It's hard. It takes 4 to 8 hours a day, and I am exhausted by the end of it. My psychologist is all for it. My partner is 100% behind me, encouraging me, helping where he can. It's going well. But because of it, I haven't been very social. I don't reach out to anyone. I'm in bed by 9 every night at the latest. My mom never reaches out first, but apparently she didn't like that I didn't answer her text at 11:41 last night. So she called today at noon. At first it was just small talk. How am I? Blah blah blah. I remind her that I'm doing the ergo plan to get me back on track. She brushed it off. No surprise. She doesn't believe that my mental health is poor. Hers is worse, and she doesn't get/need that much help. Good for her, but she hasn't worked a day in over 20 years, lives on disability, and I have done all the hard things for her until I gave birth, and even a few after, including playing armchair psychologist. While I want to get back in the workforce and get better where I will need minimal help in my day-to-day life. So she tells me about how she had to cook that ham she got for Easter that I didn't come and eat with her. My son had a respiratory infection severe enough that we could barely keep his asthma in check. We had packed a go bag just in case we needed to take him to the hospital again. She lives an hour away by car, or an hour and 20 minutes away from the children's hospital. Why she didn't keep the ham in her freezer a bit longer, I don't know, but it apparently needed to be cooked today. She proceeded to ask me to come get what she wouldn't eat. I reminded her that my husband has the car at work and that I'm doing my plan. Plus, using transits, she is at least 2 hours away, and that's if all the bus transfers are perfect and I don't need to wait more than 10 minutes between them. I don't have the time or energy to do this, so I tell her sorry it's not possible. She then said that it's okay, she would just bin all the food. At this point, I am drained and say that I do not know what she wants me to say. She says, "Wow, call me when you want to see me," and hanged up. 3 minutes later, I get a text from her that I'll translate for you guys. "You know I have little things for my son. You could just have told me I could come for a little while. Bye." She never comes to my house. She never offers to make my life easier by doing anything for me. She never hinted at the fact she would be willing to come. She knows I don't get social clues or nice actions. She knows I don't read minds, and that I am very bad at guessing what people want from me. She is so passive-aggressive, always has been if I am honest, but it's getting worse. She's pissed when I don't make her a priority. She's pissed I don't let her babysit my son. Well, she says her son, like I'm just the incubator who keeps the toddler until she wants him. She's not allowed unsupervised near my child. She's pissed when I let other people babysit him. She's pissed when I don't call her every day. She's pissed when I don't take care of things for her. Despite knowing that to prioritize her, I was living a very unhealthy life. My needs are always last. She started doing the same to my husband, and it bothered me when I realized it. But it still didn't really click. It really started to click how entitled she was with my time and resources when I was pregnant. I had a very high-risk pregnancy due to a lot of complications, and the whole time she kept saying she didn't understand why I had so little energy or why I was so sick, because when she was pregnant with me, insert whatever she did, felt, or how she acted. It clicked when a week after I gave birth, despite her having been there for the birth after she insisted, she wanted me to visit her, and that she was disappointed that I said no to go back to the hospital to treat my son's severe jaundice instead. You could have come just for an hour or so, and delay by 4 hours my son's treatment? It clicked when she wanted me bring my son to her so she could cuddle my child, but be of no other help. It clicked when she kept telling me to stop pumping milk and just buy formula for him. It would be easy when my son needed a very specific, very expensive formula. Formula we couldn't really afford. Well, I didn't breastfeed any of you, and you turned out fine. But today, it's so evident how entitled she is. How without asking she expected me to drop everything and go to her for food, and how I should have just guessed that I should tell her to visit when she never does. Even when offered, she never comes. But today, I should have guessed that she would. My partner reminds me that no, I can't read minds. And no, I couldn't have guessed. But he's at work and I'm overwhelmed, tired, and defeated. I feel like I'm asking too much to want just one parent in my corner. I think it's why I still have any contact with her. I feel sad. I needed to vent. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. You need to go and see. This cycle of abuse will repeat with your kid if you allow her to have contact. Go full no contact with your abusive mother. OP, this is not an entitled parent. This is a very abusive parent. You definitely need to cut contact completely. For the sake of your child and your mental health, you need to keep as far away from her as possible. As a mother of 3 and grandmother of 5, I'm sending you big hugs. Please go and see. If not for you, do it for your child. Your mother is going to be pissed off whether you do or don't. So don't. When nothing is good enough, nothing it is. My mother proved she never really loved me. I hope the title is okay for the rules. I was recommended to post here but wasn't sure where to start. My mother was widowed when I was 1 year old. My biological father was much older than her. She was a second wife with 20+ age difference. After that, she remarried her hometown sweetheart and adopted his 17-year-old son. My dad was American, mom is Colombian. I was born in the US, then we moved for a few years back to Colombia, and we returned to the US when I was 4. My whole life, my mother constantly complained about the fact I was a girl. She would say things like, "If you were a boy, maybe we could have gotten more from you, father, or girls are so useless." All I was for her was the problem child. She took my inheritance and squandered it, mostly on things for my stepbrother. Whenever she had guests, she would always introduce me and joke how I ruined her body and wasn't even worth it since I was a girl. Most her friends thought I had some kind of mental illness because of her lies about me being mentally behind. She used the R word. She would often blame it on my gender, though, saying because I was born a girl, I was clearly inferior. During holidays, I would be left behind with a sitter. I was just too much of a problem child and would ruin things for my sweet brother. We only have one family picture from when I was 5. If I got anything nice with my own money, my mother would take it from me if it was something like makeup or clothes, saying I wasn't attractive enough or worthy enough to have such nice things. I should just stick with a plain face since it will make it easier for me to find a job when I was done with high school. She had no intentions of letting me go to college. But the worst part is she never protected me. My stepbrother is a predator. At first, he just bullied me, stealing my food, locking me in dark places. When I hit puberty, though, he began to do worse things, walking on me when I showered, even if I locked the door, stealing my underwear, watching me sleep, and he even essayed me when I was 16 and he was 29. My mother blamed it on me, saying I was tempting her poor sweet boy. I was saved by my biological half-brother and his wife. They took me in at 16, finished raising me, and put me through college with the help of my paternal family. Even my father's first wife pitched in and has always been kind to me. She's more a mother to me than my mother was. Now I'm 29 years old. I have a good career as a nurse practitioner, and I'm saving to buy my own home. My mother found out about this and has been demanding I give her my money because she is my mother and my money should be hers. She also demands that I pay my abusive stepbrother's student loans. Since I refused to fall on my dear mother's demands, she has now gone online to post I am a temptress that is trying to ruin her son's life, and that I refuse to pay her back for all the care and love she gave me over the years. She even had some women that are supposedly my aunts join her in this. I never met any of my maternal family. As far as I knew, my mother was an orphan. Now I suddenly have 3 aunts that have seen how bad a person I am. First of all, I'm so sorry for what your stepbrother did to you. I hope you know that you didn't deserve it, and I hope you're safe from him now. Obviously, it's your life, but based on what you've said, you would be 100% justified in going no contact with your mother. She is clearly not a safe person to be around. She enabled a predator. In my book, enabling a predator is just as bad as being one. Please do not give your mother any money. She doesn't deserve it, and also, there's a good chance that money will be given to your abusive stepbrother. She chose your stepbrother over you. She made her bed. Let her lie in it. If she starts getting persistent in asking for money, e.g. phoning you constantly, feel free to block her, even if it's just for a while. You are entitled to peace of mind, especially from her. I've read all your posts. It sickens me what they have done to you. My brother, my in-mum's GC, he fell from grace about 4 years ago. He died last week. She hasn't even told people. Disgusting. He was also my abuser. Stealing my food, locking me in dark places, plus many other things, is exactly what he did to me as well. I had been in C for 30 years. I realized he was a traumatized individual, and he never broke the cycle. He was only in his 50s. I hate every minute of this for you. You will get justice, and I'm happy for you. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next video.